Imagine a quiet street at midnight, where a young man stands alone on the edge of a bridge, his hands trembling, tears streaming down his face. The world around him feels like it's closing in, every breath a struggle against an invisible weight. Police officers arrive, sirens flashing, but instead of force, they approach with calm words, listening as he pours out his pain from years of silent battles with anxiety and depression. In that moment, their understanding saves a life. This isn't just a story, it's a reality that happens every day, and today, I want to talk about anxiety and depression, not as distant problems, but as real challenges that touch us all, offering lessons for everyone, including those who protect us. Anxiety and depression are like silent storms inside the mind. They don't show up with obvious signs like a broken bone or a fever, but they hurt just as deeply. Anxiety feels like a constant worry that won't let go, making your heart race over small things, or keeping you awake at night replaying conversations in your head. It's that knot in your stomach before a big event, but imagine it never untying, growing tighter until it affects your daily life. Depression, on the other hand, is a heavy fog that dims everything. It steals the joy from things you once loved, makes getting out of bed feel impossible, and whispers that nothing will ever get better. Sometimes they come together, feeding off each other, turning everyday tasks into mountains. Think about what causes these storms. Life throws curveballs at all of us, losing a job, a loved one passing away, or even the pressure of keeping up in a fast-paced world. For some, it's wired in from birth, like a family trait passed down. Stress from work, money troubles, or big changes can spark it. Even things like not getting enough sleep or eating poorly can make it worse. And in our connected world, scrolling through perfect lives on screens can make anyone feel not good enough, adding fuel to the fire. But remember, these aren't weaknesses, they're human responses to tough times. The symptoms can sneak up slowly or hit hard. With anxiety, you might notice your mind racing with what-ifs, your body sweating or shaking without reason, or avoiding places that make you uneasy. Headaches, stomach issues, or feeling on edge all the time are common too. For depression, it's more about emptiness, losing interest in hobbies, changes in appetite leading to weight gain or loss, trouble focusing, or thoughts that life isn't worth living. Sleep becomes a battle, either too much or not enough. And physically, it drains your energy, leaving you exhausted even after rest. These aren't just bad days, when they last weeks or months, they're signals that help is needed. Around the world, these issues affect so many. Close to 1 in 10 people deal with anxiety or depression at some point, and women often face it more than men. In fact, an estimated 5 to 6% of adults live with depression alone, and it can push some to the darkest places, like thoughts of ending it all. Anxiety disorders touch millions too, with generalized anxiety affecting over 3% of people in places like the United States, yet less than half seek treatment. It's not just adults, young people feel it deeply, especially with school pressures and social media. And for those in high-stress jobs, like police officers, the risk is even higher because of what they see every day: trauma, danger, and loss. That's why this matters so much for police and everyone else. Police officers are often the first to respond when someone's anxiety spirals into panic or depression leads to a crisis. They might get a call about someone acting strangely, not realizing it's a mental health episode. Without knowing the signs, a situation can escalate quickly. But with awareness, officers can de-escalate, using calm voices, giving space, and connecting people to help instead of just arrests. Programs are growing to train police on this, teaching them to spot when someone needs a counselor more than cuffs. It's about seeing the person behind the behavior. Police themselves face these battles too. The job is tough, long hours, seeing the worst in humanity, and the weight of responsibility. Studies show police officers have higher rates of mental health issues, including anxiety and depression, because of the stress. Tragically, suicides among officers outnumber deaths in the line of duty, and stigma often keeps them from seeking help. They worry about looking weak or losing their jobs. But mental health is strength, not weakness. Departments are starting to prioritize this with wellness programs, peer support, and time off for therapy. When officers take care of their own minds, they're better at helping others. Let me share a real example to make this hit home. There's a story of a man named Chris, who grew up thinking men don't ask for help. He battled anxiety and depression quietly, feeling like a failure. It built up until he couldn't function, but when he finally reached out to a therapist, things changed. Medication and talking through his feelings lifted the fog. Now he shares his journey to show others it's okay to seek support. Or think of Becky, who lives with generalized anxiety and panic attacks. She learned to manage it with breathing techniques and professional guidance, turning her struggles into strength. These aren't rare, millions have similar paths, proving recovery is possible. Treatment is key, and it's more accessible than ever. Talking to a therapist can unpack the roots of these feelings, teaching coping skills like mindfulness or exercise. Medications help balance brain chemicals that get out of whack. Lifestyle changes, like regular sleep, healthy food, and building strong relationships, make a big difference. Support groups connect you with others who understand. And the good news: most people respond well to treatment, 70 to 90% see improvement. It's not a quick fix, but step by step, the storm clears. For the public, understanding this means being kind. If a friend pulls away or seems irritable, it might be depression talking. Offer to listen without judgment, suggest professional help gently. Break the stigma by talking openly. Mental health is health, period. Schools should teach kids about it early, workplaces offer resources, and communities build support networks. Back to police. Imagine if every officer had training to recognize a panic attack versus aggression. Cities are implementing this, pairing officers with mental health pros on calls. It saves lives, reduces force, and builds trust. Officers, if you're listening, know it's brave to seek help for your own anxiety or depression. Resources like peer counseling are there because you've earned that support. We've come far, but there's more to do. Awareness months highlight this, urging us to check in on each other. Remember, anxiety and depression don't discriminate. They hit the young, the old, the strong, the vulnerable. But with truth, compassion, and action, we can lighten the load. As we wrap up, let's go back to that bridge. That young man, with the right response, he steps down, gets help, and rebuilds his life. That's the power of understanding anxiety and depression. So, whether you're an officer on the front lines or someone watching this, take this as your call. Reach out, learn more, and be the light in someone's storm. Together, we can turn silent suffering into stories of hope.